Hey everyone, thanks for being here and watching this video. Here we are with the Harley updates for 2025. Some interesting changes this year. As you go through, if you enjoy this video, I invite you to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. I appreciate the support. We won't be covering the Road King Special, Street Glide, Road Glide, or the Trikes. Those were already covered in the first Harley release. You can see that video here. There is one detail I missed in those bikes, and that is the Mystic Shift color that is available on the Street Glide, Road Glide, and Tri-Glide Ultra. This is a color shifting paint that, according to the website, goes from dark gunmetal to purple to blue and finally to almost orange in full sunlight. I noted the Mystic Shift paint color in the last video, but didn't see anything about the color changes based on angle and sunlight. The bikes with Mystic Shift color have a special badge on the tank as well. Starting with the sport category, no new bikes here, still the Nightster Special, and Sportster S. No huge changes in the Nightster. Same 975T Revolution Max engine with 91 horsepower and 72 foot-pounds of torque, 27-inch seat height. This bike weighs 481 pounds and has a 3-gallon tank. They did release more color options. The blacked out trim has 3 colors instead of 2. They added the Whiskey Fire color. They also have a chrome trim that has a chrome exhaust heat shield. This trim has the upgraded rims that you see on the Nightster Special, and one color on this, the Snake Venom, which is also a color shifting paint that shifts from green to purple. MSRP prices range from $10,500 to $11,400. This is a $1,500 price drop on the starting line from last year, which was expected since they moved production to Thailand on all the Revolution Max bikes. The Nightster Special has the upgraded rims, a passenger seat, and a headlight cowl. This has 4 colors, no chrome trim or color shift paint options on this. MSRP ranges from $12,500 to $13,250. This is a $1,000 price drop from last year. The Sportster S has the same 1250T Revolution Max engine with 121 horsepower and 93 foot-pounds of torque, 3-gallon tank, 29-inch seat height, and weighs 502 pounds. They did increase the rear suspension travel from 2 inches to 3.2, so that's an improvement. They have changed the badging on the tank of the Sportster S and changed the colors a bit. They now have Whiskey Fire and the Mystic Shift color shift paint. MSRP ranges from $16,000 to $16,900, also a $1,000 price drop from last year. Moving on to the Pan America adventure bikes. These all have a 5.6 gallon tank. We have a new model this year. The Pan America 1250 ST is here. This sport model is designed more for on-road riding than off-road. Seat height has been lowered, but no information on what that is now. They missed that detail on the website. This has a 17-inch front wheel instead of the 19-inch that's on the other Pan Americas, with street tires and a street-style front fender. This has a quick shifter on it and has a smaller windshield, I'm guessing to give it a more sporty look. You'll notice the red trim on the tank and engine. This is a color theme they're putting out this year across a small handful of bikes, mostly the CVOs. This bike actually has a tiny bit less power than the other Pan Americas, with 91 foot-pounds of torque and 149 horsepower. Price starts at $20,000 and goes up to $20,550 depending on color. The Pan America Special is basically the same. They've apparently improved the battery charging a little and put a bigger battery in. You have 2 wheel options, cast or spoked. This is not a new option. They had that last year as well. Adjustable seat height from 31.1 to 32 inches with the adaptive ride height that lowers the seat a little when you come to a stop and raises it back up when you resume riding. All the Pan Americas have this option. Still 4 color options. Prices range from $20,000 to $21,650. This is the same as last year, no price drop after moving production to Thailand. The CVO Pan America has a new color, but otherwise is basically the same. Quick shifter on this bike as well. This has the aluminum luggage cases, red guards, red trim lines with blue paint and camo accents this year. Price is $29,250. This is up $850 from last year. You got it, they moved the Revolution Max engine bikes to Thailand to reduce manufacturing costs and then still raise the price of the CVO Pan America. On to the Milwaukee 8 engines. We start with the cruisers. Several changes across the cruisers this year. Last year we had 8 bikes to choose from the cruiser category. This year so far we have 6. Of course, the Hydroglide Revival Icon bike was in the cruiser lineup last year, and this year's Icon bike hasn't been released yet, so we'll see what that turns out to be. Some think it might be an anniversary bike of the Fat Boy. I'm not sure on that. I'm wondering if it's going to be the Road Glide Limited, since that's not in the lineup so far. We'll see. The other bike that has finally been pulled from the lineup is the Softail Standard with the 107 engine. This is not a surprise considering the upgrades they did to the cruiser lineup this year. The first significant upgrade is the engine. All the cruisers now have a 117 engine. Another change is the gauge. The small bar gauge that was on the handlebars of some of the bikes is now gone and replaced with a 4-inch round gauge. That's definitely a welcome change in my opinion. Some of the bikes have a 2-into-1 exhaust instead of the 2-into-2 that all the cruisers have had in the past. Last is the controls and electronics. The controls have changed on these as well and now include ABS, cruise control, traction control, a USB-C connection, and all the other riding safety enhancements as standard features. Starting with the Street Bob, they basically incorporated the Softail Standard into the Street Bob. This is now chrome only, no blacked out Street Bob this year. Last year it was blacked out only. If you wanted chrome, you had to buy the Softail Standard. Another change this year is the wheels. You can now choose from cast or spoked wheels if you want that classic bobber look. 4 color options here. The 117 on this bike produces 98 horsepower and 120 foot-pounds of torque. It has a 3.5 gallon tank and a 25.8-inch seat height and weighs 646 pounds. Prices range from $17,200 to $17,850. Starting price is up $200 from last year. Next in the price lineup is the Lowrider S. This has the new features we talked about, including the 2-into-1 exhaust. The engine on this is called the 117 High Output. They upgraded the air intake and the exhaust to boost performance. It has a decent jump up to 114 horsepower and 128 foot-pounds of torque. 27-inch seat height, 5-gallon tank, and weighs 670 pounds. 5 colors on this, including the Mystic Shift option. Prices range from $20,500 to $21,700. Starting price is up $500 from last year. On to the Fat Boy. This still has the 5-inch gauge on the tank and 2-into-2 exhaust, but does have the updated electronics and controls. They are calling the engine on this one a 117 Custom. It has 126 foot-pounds of torque and 104 horsepower. 26-inch seat, 5-gallon tank. This weighs 694 pounds. New tank badge on this bike with 4 color options. Price range from $22,600 to $23,450, up $600 from last year. The Heritage Classic is next in the price range. This still has the 5-inch gauge on the tank as well, but with 2-into-1 exhaust and all the electronic and control updates. This 117 engine is like the Street Bob, 120 foot-pounds of torque and 98 horsepower. The Heritage Classic has a 26.3-inch seat height, 5-gallon tank, and weighs 728 pounds with the windshield and saddlebags. Also, like the Street Bob, we have both cast and spoked wheel options. Prices range from $23,000 to $24,650 MSRP, up $500 from last year. Next is the Breakout. This has the 117 Custom that the Fat Boy has, with a 2-into-2 exhaust, 25.6-inch seat height, 5-gallon tank, and weighs 681 pounds. This has the new 4-inch gauge and controls, all chrome with 5 colors, including the Midnight Firestorm, which has flames on it. Prices range from $23,100 to $24,400. Starting price is up $600 from last year. Finishing up the cruisers is the Lowrider ST. Like the Lowrider S, this has the high output 117 and 2-into-1 exhaust, as well as the other new features. In previous years, because of the 2-into-2 exhaust, the saddlebags on this bike were 2 different sizes. Now with the 2-into-1 exhaust, the saddlebags are the same size, which is an improvement as well. This also has a chrome trim available, 3 colors in chrome and 5 in blacked out, including the Midnight Firestorm. 27-inch seat height, 5-gallon tank. This weighs 712 pounds. Price range starts at $24,200 with the chrome trim gray, which is $800 more than last year's starting price, and climbs all the way up to $27,200 with a blacked out Midnight Firestorm. No Mystic Shift on the ST. On to the touring bikes. As was mentioned, the Trikes, Road King, Street Glide, and Road Glide were covered in a different video. I'll try to remember to link that in the description. A couple of changes in the remaining touring bikes. First, the Ultra Limited has been renamed to the Street Glide Ultra. Well, technically it's actually a new bike. I think it has a new model code, FLHXU, instead of the Ultra Limited FLHTK. Of course, this now comes with the new fairing, saddlebags, and tank. as well as an updated infotainment system that was put into the glides last year. Looks like the fairing lowers and tour pack have been updated as well. It also looks like they took the tour pack lights off, which doesn't make sense to me at all, but probably because they're offering it as an add-on that they want you to pay for. An interesting new feature here called Vehicle Hold Control. Not sure if any other touring bikes have this. You can pull and release the front brake when you are stopped on an incline, and it will activate the brakes so that you don't have to hold the brakes until you start going again. Cool idea. It doesn't say how to release the hold control. I assume you pull the brake back in to release it, or when it detects the wheel wanting to move while you're letting out the clutch. The 117 engine on the touring bikes have 130 foot-pounds of torque and 105 horsepower, which remains true here on the Street Glide Ultra. 27-inch seat height and 6-gallon tank. This has the tall windshield on it. They have dropped the weight on this an impressive 51 pounds, from 917 to 866. Another change is the option for chrome trim this year. 4 colors in chrome, 6 colors in blacked out, including Mystic Shift. Prices range from $30,750 to $34,300. This is actually a price drop from last year. Last year's Ultra Limited ranged from $32,500 to $35,400. Well done, Harley. You can drop prices without shipping production overseas. Probably because it's a new model. I'm sure they'll bump it back up next year. Anyway, there is no Road Glide Limited, as I said earlier. I'm wondering if it's going to be the Icon bike, or if they're just discontinuing it. The CVOs are next, starting with the Road Glide ST, which for some reason is less expensive than the CVO Road Glide and Street Glide. Some carbon fiber components on this, with drop guards on it as well. This has a 121 high output engine with 145 foot-pounds of torque and 127 horsepower. 26.7-inch seat, 6-gallon tank. This weighs 838 pounds. I'm not seeing much of any changes here other than colors and price. The specs and features look to be the same as last year, but the price did go up $2,000. Last year we had 2 colors for the same price. This year we have 3 colors with a price bump of $5,000 for the hot lap color. Prices are $45,000 or $50,000. Next up are the CVO Street Glide and Road Glide. These have the regular 121 engine with 139 foot-pounds of torque and 115 horsepower. Again, not much in the way of changes here other than paint and price, at least not that I'm finding. 26.7-inch seat height and 6-gallon tank. The CVO Street weighs 838 pounds and the CVO Road Glide weighs 866. Prices are up $1,500. 3 colors this year, $46,000 for 2 colors in scorched chrome and $51,000 for the chrome blue streak. So there you have it, folks, the entire Harley lineup except for the Icon and Enthusiast bikes. For the most part, I'm impressed. Harley has finally brought their bikes up to current standards with a full range of safety enhancements as standard features, LED lights across the board, USB-C ports, etc. They finally got rid of those dumb 2-inch bar gauges on the cruisers. I'm a little concerned about the new controls on the cruisers. We'll see how easy it is to work those with gloves on once we get into the demo rides in April. The only remaining bikes with 114 engines are the Road King Special and the Trikes. It will be interesting to see if they update those next year. Another interesting thing this year is the tank badges, or medallions as they call them. They are different across the different bike models instead of being similar across all models. I honestly haven't taken note of them in the past, so don't know if this is typical or not. I like a lot of the color options. The color shift paint options are cool, although a little bit expensive. Still, all in all, Harley did a good job in their lineup this year, and for the most part, the price changes aren't outrageous. Although I wish they would have kept the Street Glide and Road Glide prices the same as last year. It will be interesting to see how things go for Harley this year with these improvements, considering the rough year they had last year with all the woke and DEI uproar, as well as the move to Thailand of the Rev Max bikes. So there it is. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe. See you on the next one. We're going to talk about the Indian update that just came out. Take care. Be safe.